welcome to the Algonox official channel. So in this video we'll be doing a simple demo for an incremental counter. So we have a new project. It's simple incremental counter, and then what we want to do here is to make an application with a method call, which when called will increment a global state value by 1. So the global state value is going to be an integer. So what we want to do is we'll first have to create a method, and we'll call it increment call. So we are going to add a couple of variables for our method. So one of them would be to add the increments key, which is going to be the counter key for the global state. So it's going to be a byte string. So we would call it counter key, and then counter will be the string value. And then the next thing we want to do is to create a variable that reads the global state key. So the name of the variable is going to be counter value, and the variable name that holds the key is counter key. So that variable we just created is one that reads the global state key, which is counter key. And then the next variable we are going to create is the integer we want to increment the value of the state by. So we want to call it increment by, and it's going to be a positive integer, which is 1. And then the next variable we want to add is the incremented. So the incremented variable is going to be a miscellaneous variable because it's an arithmetic operation. As earlier mentioned, a miscellaneous variable is one which is used to perform transforms on pre-existent variables, such as byte operations, integer operations, arithmetic operations, or byte string concatenation. So we'll add a miscellaneous variable, and we'll name it incremented because we want to add the global state value to increment by, which is an integer 1. So we do an arithmetic operation. So what it's going to do, it's going to add counter value plus increment by. Now we have incremented, we have increment by, we have counter value, and we have counter key. So the next steps we'll follow is to create the node or a set of nodes that are going to make use of these variables. So we'll first create a routine because there's no decision to make in this route or app call. And then a routine typically is made up of action nodes, one or more action nodes that must include an approval or rejection. So we would create an action. So an action node is one which helps us to perform different operations on a smart contract, like sending algos, sending assets, opting in assets, writing global states, writing local states, and approving or rejecting transactions. So what we want to do is to write global states. So the state key we want to focus on or write to is counter key, and the value we want to write is incremented. So the simple thing that's happening behind the scenes here is that this particular action node is getting the incremented, which on itself reads the counter key and then adds it by 1. So what we want to write is the current state key, which is counter key, plus 1 into that state. So we add the node, and the next thing we want to do is to approve the transaction. So the next thing we'll do is to add an action node to the routine. So how we add nodes is by selecting the node we want to add it to. So we select the routine node first, and then we add the approved transaction. And here we are good to go, and we could actually compile the code to Python to see the code results. And here we go. So we have our simple Python program, and then we could copy this to clipboard, or we will just export the JSON schema to be used by someone else in another project. So we earlier did deployment, so we won't be deploying the smart contract, but then if you check the link in the description, you're going to see the JSON file that's going to be attached in the GitHub repository for Algonox. So you could actually import this and try it out yourself. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.